Live, coming to you from the 4th week of September edition of IUW. Ladies and gentlemen, right at the start comes out the Jokers. Joker T is in the middle of the ring with Albino Beast, Mystic, and Lewis Hendricks behind him, and he doesn't have the world title in hand because he lost it to Clyde Chevy last week. He has a mic in hand and he has something to say. Ooh, ah, ah. Congratulations, Clyde Chevy. I lost my belt to you because I did not get pinned. I got the bastard Bullock pinning. I miscalculated a few things last week because I thought that beating you down, Clyde Chevy, and beating down Bullock would be in my favor. However, it was actually in your favor because you used it to your advantage, pinning Bullock to get the world title. But fear not. Fear not. The general manager, GM Jerry Woods, is out there in the back. I know that. And I know he's listening to me very closely about what I'm going to say next. I want a rematch. I want to fight Clyde Chevy one-on-one, or I'm gonna leave just the way Bullock said last week. And then that's when the GM Jerry Woods comes out. He's on the top of the ramp and he says, listen. Hey, you don't put me! Stop! Shut up! Hey! Bullock had the right to state that he was going to leave the company if he didn't get a number one contenders match for the world title. He had the right because he was is the best wrestler in the world due to winning the Wrestling Champions League. What? Joker, you lost the world title last week, and there is no rematch clauses. Okay? What? So you have to start from the back of the line and work your way up once again. However, you have someone in your group right behind you named Mystic. That man still has the number one contendership on his name for the world title, which means tonight Clyde Chevy will defend his world title against him and one person from Adam's group that is not part of the Joker's crew. So Joker T, I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you're gonna say you're gonna leave. You have no right to say that. And with that being said, I'm gonna go back to the back and you can't do a damn thing about it. And then Joker looks around and he just starts laughing.
That's not nice. It's not nice, cool.
No worries. I have no worries. Because I know Mystic. I know what he can do in the ring. He is going to be the next world champion, and if that's at the expense of Clyde Chevy and anybody else who's going to win number one contender for that match tonight, so be it, because Mystic is part of this group for a reason. Mystic is one of the top players in the game today, and that means that Mystic will win the world title tonight, and I have no problem with that because the Jokers are here to stay and the Jokers will laugh away. Mic drop, and they just walk away, which means tonight's main event is set. Mystic will be in the main event tonight, fighting for Clyde Chevy's world title, and there will be one more mystery man who's gonna win the number one contenders match for the match tonight in the main event between Adam Frank, Irvin Lawrence, Jason Tyler, and Sanji San. Who's going to get the victory and be number one contender for the world title? It is. Man, you called it. Irvin Lawrence gets the victory, getting, I believe, his first ever victory in IUW. And this has the makings of what Clyde Chevy went through last week, as Clyde Chevy had not won a match all season until he won 3 last week. Sanji San and Jason. Okay. All right, so that puts Irvin Lawrence in that match.
You mean Irvin Lauren?
All right, up next, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, Axel and Eric Bodega both made out the challenge to their LWO members, El Tigre and Miguel Santana. They want to figure out who will be the weak link in the LWO group between the two or the four members. Axel, Eric Bodega going up against El Tigre and Miguel Santana. Who's going to get the victory in this match between the members of LWO? It'll be... Whoa! El Tigre and Miguel Santana raise their hands over the lifeless bodies of Axel and Eric Bodega. What does this mean for Axel and Eric Bodega? What does this mean for LWO entirely? We don't know. But Miguel Santana looks at Axel and says, "Who is the leaders of LWO now?" And he just walks away. We'll figure out what's gonna happen with the LWO group moving forward. But up next, Ronda Barbarian is seen backstage with Roderick the Great. Roderick the Great still suffering from the loss of last week when he defended his Giant Championship against Poseidon for the Giant Championship. Poseidon is nowhere to be found, but Ronda Barbarian tells Roderick the Great, "Look, I'm going to look for King Poseidon, and I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to actually separate us. I'm not going to let that happen." I see where you're going with this, Roderick the Great. You've been saying that King Poseidon has been wanting to separate all of us. I'm not going to let it happen. I'm going to find King Poseidon. Actually, I'm going to call him out right now in the middle of the ring, and I want him to come out and fight me. Roderick the Great tries to stop him, but Ronda Barbarian, with enthusiasm, just starts storming and walking out to the middle of the ring. He calls out King Poseidon. "Poseidon! You beat Roderick the Great last week for the Giant Championship. Roderick the Great is great by name. However, he's great by substance as well, as he's been a double champion. First one in this IUW company. And this man is the Evolution champion, and you are the Giant champion. And I want to prove something, Poseidon. I want to prove that you cannot dictate what this group does. You cannot dictate where we go as a group. And I'm gonna beat you right now to prove that you are not the leader, that we are all equals, and that we will take over IUW together. And I don't need a championship to do that. I don't want to fight you for the Giant Championship. I want to fight you strictly one-on-one." And that's when Poseidon comes out. Poseidon gets to the middle of the ring. He goes and gets a mic at hand, and he says,
"Ron, you say that we're equal, yet you're a little wet behind the ears. When you were in Pampers, I was drop-kicking men off of Hell in the Cells. You're a child to me. And I'm gonna spank you like I did Roderick the Great and make you fall right back in line like I do with the rest of them."
"Well,
That's it.
I'll tell you this, Poseidon. If you beat me right now, I will fall in line. I will be by your side, and I will consider you my leader, my king. But if I beat you, well, you'll have to look at me and Rod as equals." Mic drop. Poseidon just nods. One-on-one, the bell rings, they're going at it, they're fighting, it's a physical battle. At the end of the battle, we see Poseidon get the victory. Ron the Barbarian is left at the ring, middle of the ring. He's left battered and bruised. And Poseidon looks at him.
And he says, nothing, actually.
He just looks at him, and Rod the Barbarian looks at him and says, "You're the king. You're the leader."
The camera pans to the back locker room. Roderick the Great, visibly angry, not liking the image that it's making the group look like. The camera goes away.
That's when Poseidon just picks up Ron the Barbarian and he raises his hand while Roderick the Great is in frustration in the backstage. But, ladies and gentlemen, for the main events of the evening, Irvin Lawrence and Mystic look to fight Clyde Chevy, the newly crowned Immersed Universe of Wrestling champion. He will defend it for the second time after Keegan Cormack unsuccessfully cashed in his money in the bank. Who's going to get the victory for the IUW World Champion? We'll find out next.